World War I was blamed on Germany, and Germany was forced to pay $33 billion in war reparations. This led to hyperinflation in Germany and the formation of the Nazi Party. Adolf Hitler joined the Nazi Party, was arrested for speaking against the government, and while in jail, he wrote Mein Kampf, which is German for My Struggle, gained support, and eventually became Chancellor of Germany. Germany signed the Tripartite Act with two other imperial powers, Italy and Japan. In 1931, Japan attacked Manchuria. In 1933, Germany took Austria. In fall of 1939, Germany took Czech, and on September 1st, 1939, Germany and Russia both attacked Poland and split it between them in Blitzkrieg. After Blitzkrieg, France and Great Britain declared war on Germany, Japan, and Italy, and early into the war, Germany made France surrender in the same railroad car that the Germans surrendered in World War I. Germany then launched aircraft against Great Britain, but due to the radar technology that the British had, they were able to see the German aircraft launch, and Germany was unable to get Great Britain to surrender. In June 1941, Germany invaded Russia. Millions of Russians were killed, and Germany almost took over Russia, although German troops stayed into winter, and winter weather swung the battle in favor of Russia. Although the U.S. tried to stay neutral in the war, passing the Neutrality Act, it leaned slightly on the side of the Allies. It had radio reports from Great Britain and not Germany. The U.S. gave more aid to the Allies than to the Axis powers. In July of 1941, the U.S. passed an embargo on Japan. Throughout the rest of the year, the U.S. and Japan negotiated the embargo. In November of 1941, the U.S. rejected Japan's latest conditions, and in response, on December 9th, 1941, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Nearly 2,500 people died, 8 battleships were destroyed, 3 destroyers were left unusable, 3 light cruisers were damaged, and 160 aircraft were destroyed. After this, America declared war on the Axis powers. 60 million Americans served in the war, or 11% of the American population. The Army grew from 1.4 million to 3 million, the Navy from 300,000 to 600,000, and the Marines from 15,000 to 54,000. In January 1942, the War Production Board was formed. All companies began building war materials. The cost of the war totaled at $330 billion, which was twice the total amount spent in 1776. The federal debt hit $269 billion. There was also Japanese internment camps formed for Japanese Americans. Over 100,000 Japanese citizens of America had to sell all belongings, usually for a poor value, and moved to relocation camps where living conditions were substandard. Some sued, but the Supreme Court said that it was constitutional. And in 1988, the American government paid $20,000 to survivors. By June of 1942, the US and Russia were fighting on the Allied side with Great Britain against Germany, Italy, and Japan. The US started fighting in North Africa, and after a year of fighting in North Africa, in July 1943, the US and Great Britain invaded Sicily and arrested Mussolini, although he was rescued. Plans by the Allies to invade France began as early as June 1943. Although the Allies did not invade until June 6, 1944, which is now known as D-Day. The Allies had deceived the Germans by setting up fake army bases, hiding loudspeakers, and building inflated airplanes and plywood tanks. The Germans believed that the Allies would be invading France through Calais, and American, Canadian, British, and Polish forces invaded France through Normandy. After Germany lost France, the Axis powers began to lose territory. On April 28, 1945, Benito Mussolini was executed, and 2 days later, on April 30th, Adolf Hitler committed suicide. Japan continued to fight in World War II, and eventually America dropped 2 bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.